Hello, Matthews Gatos here. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about how to find factor pairs. So after you found the GCF, now we're ready to factor our trinomial. So all of the methods require you to find factor pairs, or sometimes called the product sum numbers. So what that means is you're going to find two numbers that multiply to a number and the same two numbers that add to a number. So the product and the sum are different, but these factors are the same, and it doesn't matter what order you write them in. So here's some tips to finding factor pairs. If I have two numbers that multiply to a positive product, then I know my factors are either both positive or both negative. The reason or the way that I can tell if it's positive or negative is by looking at the sum. So if they multiply to a positive and add to a positive, they both have to be positive. If they multiply to a positive but they add to a negative, both numbers have to be negative. The other possibility is that they have a negative product. So two numbers that multiply to a negative number. That means that the factors are different signs, positive and negative. So to know which one is which, if it's a positive sum, the bigger factor is the positive number. If it's a negative sum, the bigger factor is the negative number. So let's try an example. Let's say I want to find two numbers that multiply to negative 12 and add to positive 1. So since the product is negative, I know that one factor has to be positive and the other factor has to be negative. That's the only way I can get a negative number. Now, since I add to a positive number, I know that my bigger number is the positive number and the smaller number is the negative number. So really what I'm doing is looking at the factors of 12, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 12, and finding two of them that are really separated by a difference of 1. And so I can see that that is 3 and 4. So I know the big number has to be 4 and the small number has to be 3. Now this is the most important step, is this part here before I factor. So I always like to check just to make sure I did it right. So positive 4 times negative 3 is negative 12. Yes. Positive 4 plus negative 3 is positive 1. So yes, I have got the correct factor pair. Now there's another way to find factor pairs, and that's on the calculator. So I want to show you this. So if you want to find two numbers that multiply to a number, in the last example for example it was negative 12, that would be your C value. You're going to go into your y equals and enter in the equation C, that's the number it's multiplying to, divided by x. Then you're going to go into your table and look at all the factor pairs. We're only interested in integer pairs, no decimal, and just find the one that adds to B. So let's go ahead and do this question again. We know what the answer is by doing it by hand. Let's verify that on the calculator. So two numbers that multiply to negative 12 and add to positive 1. So since they multiply to negative 12, I'm going to go into my y equals and enter in negative 12 divided by x. This is going to tell me all the factors of negative 12. I'm going to go into my table by doing second graph, and these are all the factor pairs of negative 12. So 1 times negative 12, 2 times negative 6, 3 times negative 4, etc. And we scan down until we find the one that adds to positive 1, which is right here, 4 and negative 3. So if I go back here, again, what I'm doing is I'm looking for those factor pairs on my calculator. I entered in negative 12 divided by x. Here's all my factor pairs, and I'm looking for those special numbers that add to 1, which is 4 and negative 3. So whichever method you use, calculator or by hand, make sure you do that last step of checking to see that the factor pairs are the correct factor pairs. So I hope this video helped, and I look forward to seeing you for the next one.